Hello everyone and welcome to Skybound Simulation YouTube channel. Today we are here in the PMDG 737-800. Just entering the hold next to Berlin-Brandenburg Airport, where we are going to do a Cat 3 approach on the runway 24 left. Okay, first of all, we'll show you how to start setting up for the approach. Make sure in the FMC you have your arrival selected. So, in this case I have here Islet Zulu 24 left already reselected. Next you can also see here in the initref on the approach ref page, if you press initref, and see here your frequency 109.50. The identifier India Bravo Sierra Whiskey, and then the 244 course for this approach. Here I have the Navigraph chart as well for Berlin. That's Zulu 24 left, and we can see here 1095 that matches 244 that matches India Bravo Sierra Whiskey. It's there as well. So now let's start with setting up the frequency. Here we can see the navigation frequency, currently FVOR. So either we can change the active, the ILS, and then put in the frequency, or you can change the mode by pressing these buttons, and we have ILS now. So our frequency in this case is 109.5. 109.5. You select that and put it in the active window. Now do the same thing for the other navigation frequency, navigation 2. So 109.50 and put it active. Now you will see it show up here. Since we are close, we already have it identified. India Bravo Sierra Whiskey. It's the same as our chart and in the FNC. And we have next the DME as well from the islets, 17 DME from the islets. And next we'll put our courses, which in this case is 244. So we select this on the course in the MCE on both sides, left and right. So 244. And here as well, 244. Next thing we can do is take a look at the minimums on the chart. So in this case we have Cat 3 ILS. Minimum RVR is 75 meters. In our case though, I do not have any other, and we are fail passive. On the FMC I've selected fail passive mode, which means there is no rollout as well. And with no HUD, I will select a minimum of 50 feet radio. It could be if there is a higher number here, then you have to select the higher number, but if there's no number, then you are fail passive. You can select 50 feet, so you change here the minimums on the we change from bottle to radio, and then if you just give it a turn and select 50, radio 50 here. So that's our minimum selected as well. Courses are selected, frequencies are selected. Next thing I will do, just for our reference, I will go to the fixed page here, and I will select runway 2 or left. I will put a 10-mile ring and a 5-mile ring. The 10-mile ring I use to make sure I'm at least around the 180 knots before passing, and 5-mile ring I will, this is the latest point, I will configure with gear down and the landing flaps. Now we will take a look at our performance. So we'll use flap 40 for this approach. We have about 300 kilos to burn here, so 60.9 minus 300, 60.6. And I'll select flaps 40 now. this case I will be using Autobrake 3, so I'll select Autobrake 3. Okay, so now we are all set up. We have identified here in the amount set a whiskey of the 244 courses. We got the frequencies and we got our minimums in. We can go ahead now and start the approach. I will give us exit the holds. Now it will exit our holds and turn towards the next points. So we can see here Delta Bravo 452 be our approach fix, and then our FOF will be sounding at 3,000 feet. I will already reselect 3,000 feet very soon once we pass the 851, which is minimum 4,000 feet. Also here we can see our indications already. We have the glide slope and the localizer, which makes sense. The localizer is on our right, so localizer is on the right side here, and we are below the glide slope currently, so the glide slope is showing above. This is all as expected. Then follow with our heading dot. Okay, so passing this point, I'll select 3,000 feet now. And we are in VNAV, so whenever it leads to descent, it will descend. So we have correct sensing. We lost the glide slope indication now. Once we start to turn, we will probably be seeing the glide slope again. Now we get VNAV off. We'll start to descend, and I will select flaps 1. There we have the glide slope indication, the localizer indication. And now arm the approach. We already have forward capture, glide slope is armed, and we have to also select the second autopilot in case of an Autoland. Do not forget the second autopilot. Now we go flap 5. The white here, the white glide slope means that the glide slope is armed. We are currently still below. Once we capture it, it will go in the green just as for lock. We can now also select our runway heading 244. Okay, the glide slope is coming closer. Very soon it will capture. Also arm the approach of the standby instrument, and you can see the glide slope localizer here. Okay, now we have glide slope capture. We check in our legs page. On the go around we expect 3,000 feet, so make sure you have the go around altitude set. Once after you have the glide slope capture. So now we have forward lock in green, glide slope in green. That means they are both engaged. We are 8.7 miles from the ILS from the runway. We have single channel, but once passing 1,500 feet, this will update to command, and we will get a white flare armed under the glide slope. You have to make sure you have this white flare armed there. It should be coming around 1,500 feet. The next thing we will do is we'll configure with the gear down and the flap 15 before this 5-mile ring that we have here, the green wing. I have the TS off, by the way, but it's no problem. There's all the traffic is off. There's no traffic. So gear down. Flap 15. Set flap 15 speed. Arm the speed brake. Set the start switches. Continuous. There we are, almost passing 1,500 as well. I'll go flap 25. Match the speed. 1,500 feet. We get the command now. And we have flare arms. And I will go now flaps 40. Okay, so we have flap 40 selected. Start switches are in continuous. All the landing lights are on. Speed brake is showing arms. And we have port lock, glide slow, and flare arms. Next is we will go down to our minimums, in this case 50 feet. Once we have the minimums, we have to have the visual of the approach sights. Otherwise, we will need to perform a go-around, which in this case, with command A and B engage, would be an automatic go-around once you press toggle, unless there is any failure. And also CS here, on the icon here, on the wireless, perfectly on the localizer, coming close to the runway. Turn past 500, I can see some lights already there. And once on the ground, once you touch with the mains, you can select reverse thrusts. My apologies, reverse thrust is not working for me currently. And once the nose is down, since it's failed passive, you have to disconnect the autopilot once the nose touches the ground. So we have already the approach lights inside.
Approaching minimums.
Check.
100. Minimums.
Continue. Now flare is in green. It starts flaring. It goes to idle. The main touches, you can now select reverse. The nose touches, you can disconnect the autopilot. And now just to bring the aircraft to a stop or vacate where you want to vacate. I'll just vacate here to the right. And we'll bring us to a stop. Alright, I hope you learned something today in this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And please, if you liked it, leave a comment or subscribe to my channel. See you next time. Thank you for watching.